Okay, great. So can you first of all describe what is Convokong? What exactly is this tool doing?
Convokong is a business that leverages LinkedIn automation. And what it's doing is it's starting to build a relationship with a conversation, but it's not cold spamming people. You know, biggest reason that we developed Convokong and the partnership that we developed is that we recognize how many people wanted to reach whoever they wanted to impact and to be able to demonstrate who they were to those individuals. It was always going to start with building a relationship, adding value, and creating impact. And that's why our conversion rates have been as high as they have been, is that it's one of the only ones out there that's not just spamming people to get what we want from them, but it starts with beginning with building a relationship so we can learn what we can do for them.
Okay, and so that's already very interesting because most tools that I know, they're exactly doing this. So they're spamming. So when you say you're building a conversation, how does it exactly work? So is it a question that you ask, or how is this first step?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it depends. We can do either cold invites with a message or without a message. I have found that with a message allows us to further vet and validate that the individuals actually have some level of interest in engaging. And then beyond that, it starts with an introduction. So I can't give away all of what we're doing from an art and science perspective, but what I can tell you is that the second message comes across very uniquely, because it's not like most automation where it's like, I'm going to send you 18 messages over the course of the next 4 days to tell you why we're the greatest service and why you should buy us and why we're targeting companies like yours. When in reality, until there's a conversation that's had place, we don't really know. We don't have enough detail to be relevant and contextual to any individual that we talk based on automation. Yeah. So truly, our approach is to introduce who we are, for lack of a better term. So it could be you're on the platform, and it could be an introduction based on who Jakob is and the way you view the world, the way that you see things. And it's truly interested and engaged to build a relationship, not to go push your product. Yeah. The problem with most automation and cold invites is that people jump to selling before any context, any relevance, any credibility for the conversation. And so we're using the ability to use automation to target people based on certain profiles, but we do not believe in selling or pushing product until we have the relevance and credibility to understand the problems that exist in their world and the solutions with which we may be able to align or not. Yeah. And so for me, it maintains a different level of authenticity in terms of how do we build a relationship. And so it's truly in how we're helping people structure the messages, how we're helping them communicate based on who they are, and how we are allowing that to be a platform for them engaging in learning and asking questions to learn who the other person is as well. Sometimes that's done through setting a meeting. Sometimes that's done through 3 or 4 back and forths. But we only have a 2-step automation process, because once someone engages, we don't want automation to take over, because it has to feel like a person. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I already love it, because this is really also my approach when it comes to content. So I have AI tools that give me 60% of my blog articles, and the other 40%, that's my magic. And correct. That's exactly, yeah, I just love it. Okay, that's really cool. So, but when we make a step back, what was the main reason that you said, okay, we have to figure out this AI thing? Was a key moment where you said, okay, we have to invest in this?
So I invested in it for myself just about 2 years ago. And the original intent was purely to just make it as a solution for me, okay, because I didn't have the time to be able to manage the process of cold outreach, but I could manage the process of inbox management once I understood who was validated, who was in, really a credible, quality individual that I wanted to talk to. Now, that doesn't mean that they were the right ideal client in every situation. They might have been someone I just wanted to have a conversation with. However, I was able to then take over to, as you called it, the 40%, and allow the 60%, which was the volume play, which was things that I could not replicate by myself at the same level of degree. The thing is I believe that automation plays really, really well in people's lives when it's a repeatable task that isn't about actually integrating or communicating directly with another person. Something that's going to take some level of thinking, some level of intentional communication, I don't believe is best suited for automation in most cases. There's always exceptions for everything. But I believe that so many people forget that people are the core basis of everything we do.
Yes.
And so one of the core philosophies in my business, in all of our businesses, is who before what and people before profits. And so when we can start with focusing on the individual, learning about the individual and demonstrating who we are as an individual, then that's great. So 2 years ago, I didn't have the time and ability to do the cold outreach, particularly when cold outreach wasn't always going to deliver the same results. So if I was sitting in front of a computer and I sent 100 cold invites out on LinkedIn, I might have been able to set the search up. I could create custom communication around each one. But the reality of what it was is that truly connections in some way are a numbers game. Now, a numbers game for me is not, I'm going to blast the marketplace with everything that I can possibly do to every ideal client in hopes that they're going to buy from me. Nope. Mine is I'm going to cast my net around the relationships that I want to develop. And then I'm going to use those as a catalyst to determine the next step of the funnel, if you want to call that in terms of funneling people, so that I am really careful to make sure that if I targeted you, you are actually somebody I want to have a conversation with. I don't want to go to the effort of pitching a product, putting bad blood into the marketplace based on how we're operating, when at the end of the day, you might have never been an ideal client for us or someone that I could help by creating an introduction or some value otherwise. So I did it for myself because I didn't have time. After 6 months of doing it, and we demonstrated the conversion was so high, we started to say, hey, this might be applicable for other people. And it was only 1 or 2 people in that we started to realize that my results were not just unique to me, they were unique to our approach. And so we decided that we could leverage and scale this platform to allow others to also build quality relationships first.
I really like this approach. So when you say you decide yourself, so it's not about defining your target audience and having 10,000 people who would be a good fit. You're choosing 20 or 30 quality people who would be a good fit. Is that right? And then using this approach. Can you say this?
So we will go through basic criteria like developing a search to identify the external demographics of who a core audience or person might be. Okay. So we do that in setting up the search in the process around how we're going to use the LinkedIn automation. Now, the way ours works then as well is that we have a certain number of invites that go out every single day. And ours also works off of, it maps and changes the way that the automation looks so that it's not just regimented straight line across the board every single day, so that it is humanistic in the way that it operates. When it can be humanistic in the way that it operates, on average, cold invites on LinkedIn convert anywhere between 15 to 20%, right? So for every 100 invites that goes out, 15 people from a cold invite, if they don't know who you are, 15 to 20 people might accept, yes, I want you to be a connection of mine. From there, there's typically somewhere between 5 to 8% engagement on average. Okay. So of those 15 to 20 people who said yes, 5 to 10% of them are going to say, yes, I want a conversation. So let's just assume the number was 20. Okay. We had 20 accept, and let's just assume it's 10% conversions. That means for every 100 invites that goes out, 2 people are interested in a conversation. So we're using the process to further refine and vet the individuals based on an introduction on who we are, not what we're selling and not what we're offering, but based on a conversation that we want to start. Now, our numbers, we are converting anywhere between 35 and 50%, depending on the industry and the campaign in terms of cold invite accepts. And we're converting between 15 to 20% on engagement. So what we've just done is, let's just say that we double and we go to 40% and we've got 20% engagement. Well, now all of a sudden we have 8 conversations instead of 2, using the same level of invites for 100. And that's all in the language and communication and how do we establish building a relationship.
Do you also sending? You have this. This is the first thing that I saw from you. This video about your introduction. So who you are, what values are important for you. Is this also part of this automation process?
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And so that's one of the things that we learned worked really, really effectively for me, was a video that introduced who I was in 90 seconds or less.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we've largely used that. And so we also have people on our team who understand like what are the connecting points that are interesting about people's unique stories. And we have the ability then to communicate and demonstrate who someone is in 60 to 90 seconds in a way that creates enough intrigue that someone who doesn't know them wants to have a conversation to learn more.
Yeah.
Again, not about what they're offering or selling, but based on who they are.
Okay, I like it, love it. And what I also really like, so you needed this tool, and then all of a sudden you gave it also to clients of you, and what the results do they have? So what
their results are often between the 35 to 50%.
Okay.
And in that 15 to 20% on the engagement side. So what we've actually found across multiple industries is with the right approach and the right language. So sometimes it takes 1 or 2 revisions for some of our clients to get their conversions to be in that number. But very often, if it's not, it's because they're following a traditional sales path in trying to want to sell something too quickly versus build a relationship.
Yeah.
Those that can demonstrate and be patient have significant results. And when I say be patient, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be patient for months. We also work with a ton of recruiting firms who are really able to justify and demonstrate why this is so unique for them identifying the talent for the clients that they're placing positions for. I mean, we literally had one recruiting individual come in. This just happened a month ago. He generated $180,000 of positions within 2 weeks of being on the platform.
Whoa. Okay.
They get paid as a percentage of placements. And they are technology significant because they were able to see very quick results in a high ticket, high yield, high conversion market.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So I love it. Okay, cool. Okay. Thanks, Brian. That's already enough, I think. I just stopped the recording.